Shouldn't you be in bed, eh? I'm not in bed. You don't have to be in bed. I know it's late. I've started again. It's 10 p.m. I missed you guys. I missed doing stories. I've had, 2 or 3 weeks off, and I thought, well, I want to carry on. I've been reading the Jungle Book recently, and so I thought I'd start reading it to you guys. So yeah, our new story, I know it's all inverted still, but our new story for the next foreseeable future, who knows, is The Jungle Book, written by Rudyard Kipling. I did some research earlier today into Mr. Rudyard. He led quite a tragic life, to be honest. He lost 2 of his 3 children very early on in their lives, and although he wrote the Jungle Book in good times, he then lost them and became a very sad man. So yeah, he didn't make all the best choices, but he wrote some amazing stuff, and he won the Nobel Prize for Literature at an early age. So yeah, and I'm going to read the Jungle Book because it's very famous, and it's so different from the Disney version. Even all the pronunciations are different. I've also done research today into the pronunciation of the Hindi, some of the Hindi words in this book, to try and do it justice as best as I can. So, if I have any Hindi-speaking friends, then do please forgive the if I make a mistake. But you may be like, oh, John, you've pronounced that wrong. I don't think I have. I think Disney may have pronounced it wrong. But anyway, lock me up. Am I right? You have to excuse the sirens. I live on a main road. There's nothing I can do about it. Cool. So, The Jungle Book, written by Rudyard Kipling and read to you by me. And what I like about it being 10 o'clock is it's now going to be free for everyone to watch it tomorrow. You can watch it whatever space you like. This is quite a long book, so if you want to stop it and come back to it, then you can. Just remember where you stopped it. Cool, so let's dive straight in. Chapter 1. Mowgli's Brothers. Now Chil the kite brings home the night that Mung the bat sets free. The herds are shut in byre and hut, for loosed till dawn are we. This is the hour of pride and power, talon and tush and claw. Oh, hear the call, good hunting all, that keep the jungle law. That is a night song in the jungle. It was 7 o'clock of a very warm evening in the Seoni Hills when Father Wolf woke up from his day's rest, scratched himself, yawned, and spread out his paws, one after the other, to get rid of the sleepy feeling in the tips. Mother Wolf lay with her big grey nose dropped across her 4 tumbling, squealing cubs, and the moon shone into the mouth of the cave where they all lived. Said Father Wolf. It's time to hunt again. And he was going to spring down the hill when a little shadow with a bushy tail crossed the threshold and whined, "Good luck go with you, O Chief of the Wolves, and good luck and strong white teeth go with the noble children, that they may never forget the hungry in this world." It was the jackal, Tabaki, the dish licker, and the wolves of India despise Tabaki because he runs about making mischief and telling tales and eating rags and pieces of leather from the village rubbish heap. But they're afraid of him too, because Tabaki, more than anyone else in the jungle, is apt to go mad, and then he forgets what he was ever afraid of, and ever afraid of anyone. And he runs through the forest, biting everything in his way. Even the tiger runs and hides when little Tabaki goes mad, for madness is the most disgraceful thing that can overtake a wild creature. We call it hydrophobia. They call it Dewani, the madness, and run. "Enter then and look," said Father Wolf stiffly, "but there's no food here." "For a wolf, no," said Tabaki. "But for so mean a person as myself, a dry bone is a good feast. Who are we? The Gida Log." That is the jackal people. Did I pronounce that right? Gida Log, yes. "To pick and choose." He scuttled to the... Sorry. I'm narrating with his voice now. He scuttled to the back of the cave, where he found the bone of a buck with some meat on it, and he sat cracking the end merrily. "Oh, thanks for a good meal," he said, licking his lips. "How beautiful are the noble children, how large are their eyes, and so young too. Indeed, indeed, I might have remembered that the children of kings are men from the beginning." Now Tabaki knew as well as anyone else that there's nothing so unlucky as to compliment children to their faces, and it pleased him to see Mother and Father Wolf look uncomfortable. Tabaki sat still, rejoicing in the mischief that he'd made. Then he said spitefully, "Shere Khan, the big one, has shifted his hunting grounds. He will hunt among these hills for the next moon, so he's told me." Shere Khan was the tiger who lived near the Waingunga River, 20 miles away. "He has no right!" Father Wolf began angrily. "By the law of the jungle, he has no right to change his quarters without due warning. He will frighten every herd of game within 10 miles, and I have to kill for 2 these days." "His mother did not call him Lungri, the lame one, for nothing," said Mother Wolf quietly. "He's been lame in 1 foot from his birth. That is why he has only killed cattle. Now the villagers of the Waingunga are angry with him, and he has come here to make our villagers angry. They will scour the jungle for him when he is far away, and we and our children must run when the grass is set alight. Indeed, we are very grateful to Shere Khan." "Shall I tell him of your gratitude?" said Tabaki. "Out!" snapped Father Wolf. "Out! And hunt with thy master! Thou hast done harm enough for one night." "I go," said Tabaki quietly. "You can hear Shere Khan below in the thickets. I might have saved myself the message." Father Wolf listened. Below in the valley, that ran down to a little river, he heard the dry, angry, snarly sing-song whine of a tiger who has caught nothing and doesn't care if all the jungle knows it. "Meow!" Something like that. "The fool," said Father Wolf. "To begin a night's work with that noise! Does he think that our buck are like his fat Wainagunga bullocks?" "Hush! It is neither bullock nor buck he hunts tonight," said Mother Wolf. "It is man." The whine had changed to a sort of humming purr that seemed to be coming from every quarter of the compass. It was the noise that bewilders woodcutters and gypsies sleeping in the open, and makes them run, sometimes, into the very mouth of the tiger. "Man," said Father Wolf, showing all his white teeth. "Foe, are there not enough beetles and frogs in the tanks that he must eat man? And on our ground, too?" The law of the jungle, which never orders anything without a reason, forbids every beast to eat man, except when he is killing to show his children how to kill, and that he must hunt outside the hunting grounds of his pack or tribe. The real reason for this is that man-killing means, sooner or later, the arrival of white men on elephants, with guns, and hundreds of brown men with gongs and rockets and torches. This book was written a long time ago, so you have to forgive some of these references to people, but there aren't many references to people in this book. It's mainly animals, thankfully. The reason the beasts give among themselves is that man is the weakest and most defenceless of all the living things, and it's unsportsmanlike to touch him. They say too, and it's true, that man-eaters become mangy and lose their teeth. The purr grew louder and ended in the full-throated "Rah!" of the tiger's charge. Then there was a howl, an untigerish howl, from Shere Khan. "He has missed," said Mother Wolf. "What is it?" Father Wolf ran out a few paces and heard Shere Khan muttering and mumbling savagely as he tumbled about in the scrub. "The fool has had no more sense than to jump at a woodcutter's campfire, and has burned his feet," said Father Wolf with a grunt. "Tabaki is with him." "Something's coming uphill," said Mother Wolf, twitching one ear. "Get ready." The bushes rustled a little in the thicket, and Father Wolf dropped with his haunches under him, ready for his leap. Then, if you'd been watching, you would have seen the most wonderful thing in the world. The wolf checked in mid-spring. He made his bound before he saw what it was he was jumping at, and then he tried to stop himself. The result was that he shot up straight into the air for 4 or 5 feet, landing almost where he left the ground. "Man," he snapped. "A man's cub! Look!" Directly in front of him, holding on to a low branch, stood a naked brown baby who could just walk, as soft and as dimpled as a little atom as ever came into a wolf's cave at night. He looked up into Father Wolf's face and laughed. "Is that a man's cub?" said Mother Wolf. "I've never seen one. Bring it here." A wolf accustomed to moving his own cubs can, if necessary, mouth an egg without breaking it. And though Father Wolf's jaws closed right on the child's back, not a tooth even scratched the skin as he laid it down among the cubs. "How little, how naked, and how bold," said Mother Wolf softly. That's not hairless, that's straight, that's bold, courageous. The baby was pushing his way between the cubs to get close to the warm hide. Aye! He's taking his meal with the others. And so this is a man's cub. Now was there ever a wolf that could boast of a man's cub among her children? I have heard now and again of such a thing, but never in our pack, or in my time, said Father Wolf. He's altogether without hair, and I could kill him with a touch of my foot. But see, he looks up, and is not afraid. The moonlight was blocked out at the mouth of the cave, for Shere Khan's great square head and shoulders were thrust into the entrance. Tabaki, behind him, was squeaking, my lord, I went in here. Shere Khan does us great honour, said Father Wolf, but his eyes were very, very angry. What does Shere Khan need? Oh, what voice shall I do for Shere Khan? What voice indeed? Do I do stereotypical English baddie? Have you noticed they always do English baddies? And I'm mainly an American TV show. I don't think I will. I'm going to give him a weird accent. My quarry? A man's cub went this way, said Shere Khan. Its parents have run off. Give it to me. Shere Khan had jumped at a woodcutter's campfire, as Father Wolf had said, and was furious from the pain of his burned feet. But Father Wolf knew that the mouth of the cave was much too narrow for a tiger to come in by. Even where he was, Shere Khan's shoulders and forepaws were cramped for want of room, and as a man's would be if he tried to fit into a barrel. The wolves are free people, said Father Wolf. They take orders from the head of the pack, and not from any striped cattle killer. The man's cub is ours, to kill if we choose. Just gotta check who's speaking. Ye choose and ye do not choose. What talk is this of the choosing? By the bull that I called? Am I to stand nosing into your dog's den for my fair dues? It is I, Shere Khan, who speak. The tiger's roar filled the cave with thunder. Meh! Mother Wolf shook herself clear of the cubs and sprang forward, her eyes like two green moons in the darkness, facing the blazing eyes of Shere Khan. And it is I, Raksha, which means the demon, who answer. The man's cub is mine, Lungri, mine to me. He shall not be killed. He shall live to run with the pack and to hunt with the pack, and in the end, look you, hunter of little naked cubs, frog-eater, fish-killer, he shall hunt thee. Now get hence, or by the Sumpho that I killed, I eat no starved cattle. Back thou goest to thy mother, burned beast of the jungle, lamer than ever thou camest into the world. Go! Father Wolf looked on amazed. He'd almost forgotten the days when he'd won Mother Wolf in fair fight from 5 other wolves, when she ran into the pack and was not called the demon for compliment's sake. Shere Khan might have faced Father Wolf, but he could not stand up against Mother Wolf, for he knew that where she was and what she had. For where he was, she had all the advantage of the ground and would fight to the death. So he backed out of the cave mouth, growling, and when he was clear, he shouted, Each dog barks in his own yard. We will see what the pack will say to this fostering of man's cubs. The cub is mine, and to my teeth you will come in the end, oh bush-tailed thieves. Mother Wolf threw herself down, panting among the cubs, and Father Wolf said to her gravely, Shere Khan speaks this much truth. The cub must be shown to the pack. Wilt thou still keep him, mother? Keep him, she gasped. He came naked by night, alone and very hungry, yet he was not afraid. Look, he's pushed one of my babes to one side already, and that lame butcher would have killed him and would have run off to the Wainagunga, while the villagers here, the Wainagunga is a river, by the way, while the villagers here hunted through all the lairs in revenge. Keep him? Assuredly, I will keep him. Lie still, little frog, O thou Mowgli. For Mowgli the frog I will call thee. The time will come when thou wilt hunt Shere Khan, as he has hunted thee. But what will our pack say? Said Father Wolf. The law of the jungle says, and it lays down very clearly, that any wolf may, when he marries, withdraw from the pack he belongs to. But as soon as his cubs are old enough to stand on their own feet, he must bring them to the pack council, which is generally held once a month at full moon. in order that the other wolves may identify them. After that inspection, the cubs are free to run where they please. And until they've killed their first buck, no excuse is accepted if a grown wolf of the pack kills one of them. Punishment is death, where the murderer can be found. And if you think for a minute, you will see that this must be so. Father Wolf waited till his cubs could run a little, and then on the night of the pack meeting, took them and Mowgli and Mother Wolf to the Council Rock, a hilltop covered with stones and boulders where 100 wolves could hide. Akela, the great grey lone wolf, who led all the pack by strength and cunning, lay out at full length on his rock. And below him sat 40 or more wolves of every size and colour, from badger-coloured veterans who could handle a buck alone, to young black 3-year-olds who thought they could. The lone wolf had led them for a year now. He'd fallen twice into a wolf trap in his youth, and once he'd been beaten and left for dead, so he knew the manners and customs of men. There was very little talking at the rock. That's the thing about these books, right? The cubs tumbled over each other in the centre of the circle, where their mothers and their fathers sat. And now and again a senior wolf would go quietly up to a cub, look at him carefully, and then return to his place on noiseless feet. Sometimes a mother would push her cub far out into the moonlight to be sure that he'd not been overlooked. Akela, from his rock, would cry, "Ye know the law! Ye know the law! Look well, O wolves!" And the anxious mothers would take up the call, "Look! Look well, O wolves!" At last, and Mother Wolf's neck bristles lifted as the time came, Father Wolf pushed Mowgli the frog, as they called him, into the centre, where he sat laughing and playing with some pebbles that glistened in the moonlight. Akela never raised his head from his paws, but went on with a monotonous cry, "Look well!" A muffled roar came up from behind the rocks, the voice of Shere Khan, crying, "The cub is mine! Give him to me!" Was that the voice I did for him? Kind of nasally. A nasally English voice. "What have the free people to do with a man's cub?" Akela never even twitched his ears. All he said was, "Look well, O wolves! What have the free people to do with the orders of any save the free people? Look well!" There was a chorus of deep growls, and a young wolf, in his 4th year, flung back Shere Khan's question to Akela. "What have the free people to do with a man's cub?" Now the law of the jungle lays down that if there are any disputes as to the right of a cub to be accepted by the pack, he must be spoken for by at least 2 members of the pack, who are not his father and mother. Let me check my battery. All good. "Who speaks for this cub?" said Akela. "Among the free people, who speaks?" There was no answer, and Mother Wolf got ready for what she knew would be her last fight, if things came to fighting. Then, the only other creature who's allowed at the pack council, Baloo, the sleepy brown bear, who teaches the wolf cubs the law of the jungle, old Baloo, Baloo, who can come and go where he pleases because he eats only nuts and roots and honey, rose up on his hindquarters and grunted. I might do the same bear voice from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The man's cub, he said. "I speak for the man's cub. There's no harm in a man's cub. I've no gift of words, but I speak the truth. Let him run with the pack and be entered with the others. I myself will teach him." "We need yet another," said Akela. "Baloo has spoken, and he is our teacher for the young cubs. Who speaks besides Baloo?" A black shadow dropped down into the circle. It was Bagheera, the Black Panther, inky black all over, but with the panther markings showing up in certain lights like the pattern of watered silk. Everybody knew Bagheera, and nobody cared to cross his path, for he was as cunning as Tabaki, as bold as the wild buffalo, and as reckless as the wounded elephant. But he had a voice as soft as wild honey dripping from a tree, and a skin softer than down. Ooh, what should his voice be? His voice needs to be nice, like Ben Kingsley from the Disney film. "Oh, Akela, and ye, the free people," he purred. "I have no right in your assembly, but the law of the jungle says that if there is a doubt, which is not a killing matter in regards to your new cub, the life of that new cub may be bought at a price." And the law does not say who may or may not pay the price. Am I right? Good, good, said the young wolves, who were always hungry. Listen to Bagheera. The cub can be bought for a price. It is the law. Knowing that I have no right to speak here, I ask your leave. Speak then, cried 20 wolves. To kill a naked cub is a shame. Besides, he may make better sport for you when he is grown. Baloo has spoken in his behalf. Now to Baloo's word I will add one bull, and a fat one, newly killed, not half a mile from here, if you will accept the man's cub according to the law. Is it difficult? There was a clamour of scores of voices saying, What matter? He will die in the winter rains, he will scorch in the sun. What harm can a naked frog do us? Let him run with the pack. Where is the bull, Bagheera? Bagheera. Let him run with the... Yes, let him be accepted. And then came Akela's deep bay, crying, Look well, O wolves. Wonderful vibrato going on there. Look well. Mowgli was still deeply interested in the pebbles, and he didn't notice when the wolves came and looked at him one by one. At last they all went down the hill for the dead bull, and only Akela, Bagheera, Baloo, and Mowgli, Mowgli's own wolves, were left. Shere Khan roared still in the night. He was very angry that Mowgli had not been handed over to him. Aye, roar well, said Bagheera under his whiskers, for the time comes when this naked thing will make thee roar to another tune, or I know nothing of man. It was well done, said Akela. Men and their cubs are very wise. He may be a help in time. Truly, a help in time of need, for none can hope to lead the pack forever, said Bagheera. Bagheera, it's Bagheera, there's two E's, Bagheera. Akela said nothing. He was thinking of the time that comes to every leader of the pack, when his strength goes from him, and he gets feebler and feebler, till at last he is killed by the wolves, and a new leader comes up, to be killed in his turn. Take him away, he said to Father Wolf, and train him, as benefits one of the free people. And that is how Mowgli was entered into the CME Wolf Pack, at the price of a bull, and on Baloo's good word. And 25 minutes, that is a wonderful place to stop for tonight. I didn't say, but there are 7 chapters in this book. They're all quite long. They're about 30 pages each. I'm about 14 pages through this chapter, so I imagine I'll do a chapter in 2 nights, which makes 14 days. All going well. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Right. Yeah, that's the book. So you guys may have noticed that I pronounced Mowgli as Mowgli, but I read the thing that Rudyard Kipling himself wrote about how to pronounce the names. And I trust Mr. Rudyard more than I trust Disney, because he grew up, and Rudyard Kipling's first language was actually Hindi, because he grew up in India. So I'm going to trust him more than I trust Disney. So there we go. He's called Mowgli when I'm reading the story. You guys can do whatever you like. Okay, thanks for joining in. Sleep well, good night, and God bless you. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock for bedtime story, which it really is now. Goodbye.